As Bitcoin right now ranges in the final resistance range before new all-time highs, JP Morgan reveals their clients are rapidly switching to Bitcoin over gold as inflation runs rampant, leaving baby boomer Peter Schiff squealing and crying into his blankies like a baby who soiled his diapers. And with one small step closer to a Bitcoin ETF, this month is going to be absolutely bananas. I'm your host, Richard Reacharound. And with massive ETF news more than likely in only a week or two away, combined with increasing interest and adoption everywhere for Bitcoin, it's important that we take a moment of silence for Peter Schiff, who has been paid by actual human beings to give the worst financial advice consistently for about a decade. So I want to give a huge rest in peace to all the people that followed Peter's advice and missed out on tens of thousands of % gains by taking his advice. And enough is enough. Somebody has to stand up and say it, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Pete, you're being a jerk, and you're being kind of a silly goose. It's time to stop. So if you should make sure to like, subscribe, turn these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. If you're interested in earning rewards with your ADA or any other bonuses, make sure to check out the pinned comment below. And without any further magoo, I think it's about time that we pump on it. Goodness gracious, JP Morgan institutional investors are favoring Bitcoin over gold. Okay, we saw this narrative early in the year, and then we saw a massive flip-flop, even though nobody actually was buying gold. They were saying everybody was leaving Bitcoin and going to gold. And guess what? That turns out to be the exact opposite of the truth. Of course. Why would people be switching from something that is a better store of value to a worse store of value? AKA Bitcoin is the better store of value. So JP Morgan analysts have shared that they believe an increased appetite from institutional investors has been fueling this Bitcoin rally. Institutional investors appear to be returning to Bitcoin, perhaps seeing it as a better inflation hedge than gold. Said JP Morgan, money is flowing out of gold and into Bitcoin, according to the bank. So Bitcoin yet again has broken $1 trillion market cap as Bitcoin has again recaptured roughly about a $55,000 Bitcoin. Currently we're trading a little bit below that, but there are a multitude of things fueling Bitcoin's move right now, including institutional investors getting into Bitcoin, which has been happening all throughout the year, especially when Bitcoin was crashing down to about $30,000. Even though all the bears were telling you they were getting ready to short Bitcoin down to 9,000, 7, or even 8,000 US dollars. In fact, that was the opposite of the truth. They were buying at 30,000, okay, because that was the bottom. As well, assurances that the US will not be banning Bitcoin. However, do not be fooled, they will be regulating it. And as well, the recent rise of the Lightning Network and something else we're going to be talking about in just a second here. So JP Morgan added that the prior trend of institutional money flowing out of gold and into Bitcoin has reemerged in recent weeks. Basically, people getting back into Bitcoin. The validation of Bitcoin as a better store of value than gold among big investors has encouraged an increased flow of money into Bitcoin. Okay, I believe even Kevin O'Leary now said, like as of a few days ago, or even as of like yesterday, that he has more of his portfolio in Bitcoin than he does gold. And Kevin is actually, he's from Shark Tank, the bald guy from Shark Tank. He's actually really into DeFi as well. And I think he has very good views. Keep in mind, he was not always bullish on Bitcoin. In fact, the exact opposite. You look back a year or two, Kevin O'Leary did not like Bitcoin. We can even go back to as early as a little over 2 years ago, saying Bitcoin is garbage in a takedown of the whole crypto industry. This was 2 years ago, okay? This isn't now, because now he's completely switched his stance. He very much likes Bitcoin, and he's very invested in Bitcoin. But yeah, if you just go back 2 years, he was calling it a scam and garbage, and guess what he's saying now? He has more of his portfolio in Bitcoin than he has in gold, and he's a huge DeFi bull, and he's a huge crypto bull, altcoin bull, everything bullish about crypto, basically, than a lot of people. And remember, not so long ago, he was saying it was garbage. So the rise of the Lightning Network as well, not to mention El Salvador, a country, adopted Bitcoin. All of these things are just very objectively bullish for Bitcoin. And as well, one thing I'm extremely excited for, because this is actually very possible before this month is over. Before Spooktober ends, after years of waiting for a US Bitcoin ETF, because we have one in Canada, we have multiple in Canada, and Ethereum ETFs in Canada, the crypto community may finally get as many as 4 products in a matter of weeks. So it's raising hopes because a $6.7 trillion US ETF industry would be the largest market finally ready to join crypto. Keep in mind, there is futures-based ETFs and then physically backed Bitcoin ETFs, which, if anything, I think it's very likely we'll get a futures-based ETF, which is worse, but it is still progress. Yesterday as well, there was an approval of an ETF that gives indirect exposure to Bitcoin, and we'll talk about that in a second here as well. But we are pretty bullish on the ETF here, says James Seifert, an ETF analyst with Bloomberg. We just cannot see Gensler and the SEC going out of their way to state positive comments about a 1940 Act Bitcoin futures ETF at the end of last month, and then denying all of them less than a month later. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But with that being said, in a move that further raised hope among crypto advocates, the regulator asked 2 issuers to withdraw their Ethereum ETFs over the summer, but they did not demand that for Bitcoin ETFs. So if anything, again, it looks as though a Bitcoin ETF, not Ethereum or other cryptos, a Bitcoin ETF looks very likely here. And as well, Volt Crypto Industry Revolution and Tech ETF with the ticker BTCR was approved this week. It is an actively managed product that plans to invest a majority of assets into companies with exposure to Bitcoin and its supporting infrastructure. So it's a indirect way of getting exposure to crypto. It's not the best, but it's a small step forward. And given that ETF issuers have been tirelessly pursuing Bitcoin ETFs for over 8 years now, it seems unlikely that the SEC would be encouraging more filings only to disprove them or disapprove of them. I think it's very likely we will be seeing a Bitcoin ETF, and whether you think that's good or bad, it most likely, at least in the short term, will absolutely impact price, basically to the upside. And so if we take a look here, before we jump into Bitcoin, I actually wanted to look at Ethereum because it looks so absolutely ready to absolutely bust here. And so if we zoom out, this potentially could be seen as some sort of a massive cup and handle. It's not perfect. Very rarely are patterns perfect here, but there's a clear level of topping out, absolute pretty rounded decay in Bitcoin's price, and then kind of finding that initial resistance basically right at the same level. Not exactly, but very, very close. 4,030 to 4,300, so about a $300 difference in the tops here. And as well, this potentially seeing the handle. And this right here, whenever we approach 4,000, even if this is not a cup and handle, when we approach 4,000 again, I think absolutely Moon Mission 2021 is guaranteed to commence. So regardless of if this is a cup and handle or not, it doesn't really matter. Ethereum is in a very macro bullish pattern anyway. We've been testing this previous resistance for a while. We're right there, and it looks as though Ethereum is ready to absolutely bust out there. So that's just very important. And the number one cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, as well, looking pretty good. It has one more resistance range left, which is between 56 and 59,000, which I've been talking about for weeks here. Just this area here. You can see we got rejected right here, and now we're just trading in between both these ranges. As I said in the last 2 videos, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually got to move back down to about even 48,000. Okay, I wouldn't think that would be bearish at all. That's something I'm still watching for before then going up. Okay, either way, I think Bitcoin is going to be blowing up this month. So, with that, if Bitcoin still did get a little bit of about a $6,000 pullback, I still think ultimately the trajectory will be up, and Bitcoin's about to get very bullish, as long as nothing outside of crypto destroys it. Okay, that's one thing we always have to be watching. And as well, we can take a look at the SPX today, still kind of teeter-tottering, not in a great position, below its 50 and 21-day moving averages there. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, as far as Bitcoin, it's just looking very good here, and we will be getting a new weekly candle open in 2 days. And Bitcoin is it has busted this very hard level of resistance we've been spending months at. So yeah, Bitcoin's in a very good position, and Ethereum, I think, is going to be next up to start going wild of the top alts. If you get a new channel, make sure to like, subscribe, turn these these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. If you're interested in earning rewards with your ADA or any other bonuses, make sure to check out the pinned comment below. And without any further ado, that's it for me. Bye-bye.